Many people worldwide are confused about how Captain Ibrahim Traore rose to power. He was just a soldier who was then promoted, and ultimately, he became a captain in the military. But a captain can never become the head of the military and state, no matter what type of coup we discuss. Well, he is different, and the main reason he is so is his education. He knows more than anyone about Burkina Faso's history, which he learned in his country's universities. Because these universities shaped Traore, he went to the very university he had gotten his degree from. However, this time, he did not go as a student but as the most powerful man in Burkina Faso and one of the most influential leaders in the world. During his address to the students, he revealed a lot about what changes he was planning and what he wanted from the students. Put simply, he is thinking of creating hundreds of Ibrahim Traore from the students who will lead the country. But what more did he reveal in his interview with the university students that has literally scared Europe, especially France? Let's know about that in this video. When Captain Ibrahim Traore took control on September 30, 2022, following a military coup, he stressed the urgent need to address Burkina Faso's deteriorating security situation. Western countries did not know how he would do that at that time. They even made fun of the situation in Burkina Faso, sure of the possibility that Ibrahim Traore wouldn't be able to handle the issues. But a shocker came from Traore when it was announced that elections were not the top priority. Instead, the transitional government's primary focus was ensuring national security before moving forward with elections. Captain Traore underscored the importance of inclusive elections, allowing all citizens to participate and candidates to campaign throughout the country without fear of attacks. That's when the West realized Ibrahim Traore had plans to change things radically. He stated that no elections will be concentrated solely in Ouagadougou or Bobo-Dioulasso, so they have to ensure security first. He clarified that he came to power for security, accusing other countries of hindering the process by withholding essential equipment. According to him, countries influenced by imperialists were blocking equipment delivery, causing delays while simultaneously urging Burkina Faso to expedite elections. Although the next presidential election is scheduled for July 2024, with planned constitutional reforms, Captain Traore clarified that security remains the top priority in a country grappling with jihadist violence. He emphasized the goal of organizing elections, but did not specify a date. He delayed elections for a reason which you will know about soon. At 34, Traore became the world's youngest leader when sworn in as interim president, pledging to regain territory and support a transition leading to elections in July 2024. Traore also announced plans for a partial change to the country's constitution, aiming to make it more representative of the masses and less reflective of the views of a select few. He delayed elections to institute constitutional changes and develop a future generation of leaders centered around a strategic approach to governance and nation building. This seemed unreal, but now, as things have become clear, it is a practical plan. Upon assuming power following a military coup, President Traore stressed the immediate need to tackle Burkina Faso's worsening security challenges, including terrorist attacks, a deepening crisis, and a reported coup attempt. Given these urgent security concerns, the argument proposes that Traore opted to stabilize the country before moving forward with elections. However, the postponement of elections is not solely due to a neglect of democratic processes, but rather a purposeful decision to implement constitutional changes. Traore has articulated a desire to introduce reforms to the constitution, aiming for a more inclusive and representative document. These adjustments might include the involvement of religious and community leaders, making the constitutional framework more reflective of Burkina Faso's diverse population. Another aspect of the argument suggests that Traore is using this delay to foster a new generation of leaders. By postponing elections and concentrating on constitutional reforms, Traore seeks to establish a political environment conducive to the growth of young leaders who could play a substantial role in the future governance of Burkina Faso. This aligns with his earlier commitment to facilitating a transition leading to elections in July 2024. The argument also implies that Traore's approach is a reaction to historical challenges faced by Burkina Faso. Taking the time to enact constitutional changes and potentially encouraging a broader spectrum of leaders' participation could be a deliberate effort to tackle long-standing issues and lay the foundation for a more inclusive and stable political landscape. Moreover, the evolving geopolitical landscape, marked by shifts in alliances with countries like Russia and distancing from former partners like France, is suggested to influence Traore's decision-making. This geopolitical adjustment might be part of a comprehensive strategy to position Burkina Faso in a manner consistent with the president's vision for the country's future. Even if we could understand constitutional changes, it was hard to understand how Traore wanted to build future leaders. Well, he wants a strategic shift in leadership development in Burkina Faso. Instead of continuing the pattern of entrusting the country to previously corrupt leaders, Traore advocates for cultivating a new leadership class emerging from universities. This approach aims to foster a generation of educated and ethically grounded individuals capable of becoming future leaders and governing the nation effectively. The rationale behind Traore's argument includes several key points. Firstly, he acknowledges the historical challenges associated with corrupt leadership in Burkina Faso and aims to break away from this deeply ingrained cycle. This commitment signals a dedication to nurturing a new era of governance, characterized by integrity and accountability. Secondly, emphasizing universities signifies a commitment to investing in education as a fundamental driver of national development. By nurturing leadership capabilities within educational institutions, Traore envisions a pool of well-educated individuals equipped with the skills and knowledge necessary to navigate the complexities of governing a country. Thirdly, Traore's focus on universities reflects a belief in the transformative power of education to shape ethical and competent leaders. The goal is to instill values, critical thinking, and a sense of responsibility in future leaders, ensuring they are well prepared to address the governance challenges. The strategy of building a leadership class in universities indicates a long-term vision for Burkina Faso. Rather than relying on short-term fixes or quick political solutions, Traore envisions a sustainable and progressive leadership structure contributing to the country's long-term development and stability. Traore aims to empower the younger generation by targeting universities and recognizing their potential and dynamism. This approach seeks to harness the youth's energy and ideas for the country's betterment, departing from traditional leadership models that may have excluded or marginalized this demographic. Even if Ibrahim Traore is the youngest president in the world, he is the smartest one. You should know that a crucial aspect of good leaders is recognizing the significance of cultivating leadership qualities in the younger generation. Honest leaders never come into power for themselves but to develop the nation, and Ibrahim Traore wants to do that. Leadership development in students is regarded as a strategy for achieving sustainable progress. Instead of exclusively addressing immediate concerns, Ibrahim Traore wants to dedicate time and resources to shaping the minds and abilities of the younger generation. This proactive approach is seen as a way to ensure the long-term stability and prosperity of the country. To practically start this step, Ibrahim Traore made an unanticipated visit to the University of Ouagadougou, where he obtained his initial geology degree. During this visit, he shared various statements that provided insights into his character, subsequently shaping his leadership style. In the question-answer session, Traore discussed his intentions to reduce the number of political parties in the country as part of his strategy to reinstate civilian rule. He also voiced his aspiration to regain the country's sovereignty from a specific nation, though he didn't explicitly mention its name. Before delving into political issues, Traore addressed the immediate concerns of the university, pledging to provide free optical fiber internet for the students. He reassured them that steps would be taken to ensure their safety and a prompt return to classes. This commitment extended to all universities, focusing on the importance of students integrating into the student community and resuming their studies. Looking ahead, Traore discussed ongoing discussions with various countries to facilitate student exchanges for technological advancements. He underscored the significance of acquiring laboratory equipment to enhance the quality of education, especially in fields like geology. Traore highlighted the importance of partnerships in gradually re-equipping universities and schools, ensuring students receive high-quality training and education. Addressing the need for educational reform, Traore mentioned talks with the newly appointed Minister of Youth and colleagues in higher and basic education. He outlined the upcoming reforms in the educational system, responding to a question about transition plans to restore the country to civilian rule. Regarding political issues, Traore stressed the necessity of reducing the number of political parties, stating that a comprehensive reform was underway and failing to implement it now might result in neglect in the future. This is something no other African leader has ever thought about. This shows what Ibrahim Traore plans to make of Burkina Faso in the upcoming years. Ibrahim Traore called the students the decision-makers whom he was willing to support. He said that leaders from every corner of the nation must collaborate to construct something significant with a clear ideology to bring about change. He revealed that reforms are currently in progress for this purpose and will be initiated to establish a framework for consultations. Traore shared a principle with the students, saying that he finds it challenging to understand people who cannot assist others. He said that if God were to give him $1 billion and he couldn't allocate $50 million to help a young person, he prayed to God not to grant it to him. Note how he talked with the students, teaching them moral principles and the ability to help others. It's because whenever Ibrahim Traore is among students, he feels he has to teach and groom them. After all, they are the future leaders. Traore said that his concern is that the youth remain actively involved because the fight for sovereignty is a long-term battle that demands considerable resilience. While refraining from expressing certain things that might offend, Burkina Faso's commitment to the fight for sovereignty is unwavering. He said that the necessary processes have been set in motion and are progressing smoothly. He further said that he did not wish for violence. Rather, he encouraged the youth to abandon violence, maintain good health, and focus on nation building. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Perhaps he wants to change the education system in Burkina Faso, which is French-influenced. The French education model is followed in every Francophone African country, including Burkina Faso, and the teaching language is also French, which unconsciously makes Burkina Faso students loyal to French. The educational system in Francophone African countries, like Burkina Faso, follows a curriculum based on the French educational model. This structure has its roots in the colonial era when these nations were under French rule. As a result, students in Francophone African countries are exposed to the French language, literature, and history throughout their academic journey. The influence of the French education system in these countries raises concerns about potential unconscious loyalty to France among students. The curriculum often highlights French culture, history, and perspectives, fostering a connection to the former colonial power. This influence can shape the worldview and identity of students, creating a subtle allegiance to French ideals and values. The use of French as the primary language of instruction further solidifies this connection. Students become proficient in French, and the language becomes a tool for accessing knowledge and opportunities. Consequently, the French language holds significant importance, and students may develop a subconscious affinity towards French culture and ways of thinking. The educational content, typically designed and provided by French institutions, may present a Eurocentric worldview, contributing to a sense of loyalty or familiarity with French perspectives. Additionally, the emphasis on French literature and history contributes to a cultural alignment that overshadows the African nation's rich and diverse cultural heritage. You should know that during the colonial period, France employed a strategy to control its African colonies by imposing its educational system on them. The French colonial administration believed that shaping the minds of the younger generation through education was a potent method to maintain control, ensure loyalty to France, and sustain the subordinate status of the colonized populations. France wanted to assimilate African populations into French culture. By introducing the French language, literature, and history into the education system, colonial authorities aimed to instill French values and perspectives in the minds of African students, fostering a sense of identification with French ideals. French became the primary language of instruction in schools. Teaching in French aimed to establish a linguistic connection between African students and France. Proficiency in the French language facilitated communication with colonial authorities. It served as a means of accessing higher education and better opportunities, creating a dependency on the French language and culture. The school curriculum was carefully crafted to make French history, culture, and perspectives look superior, often presenting a Eurocentric worldview. This controlled educational content aimed to shape students' worldviews, aligning with French interests while downplaying the appreciation of local cultures and histories. This education system was designed to create an elite class of Africans educated in the French tradition. These individuals were often groomed to serve as intermediaries between the colonial administration and local populations. This elite class was expected to be loyal to French interests and maintain order in the colonies. The imposition of the French education system also undermined traditional African educational systems. By discrediting indigenous knowledge and practices, France sought to dismantle existing social structures and replace them with a system reinforcing French cultural and intellectual dominance. Access to higher education was often restricted for Africans, creating a hierarchical structure where the French-educated elite held influential positions. At the same time, most of the population had limited access to advanced education and remained in subordinate roles. This continues today, but Ibrahim Traore plans to change this, using all his power. That's why he is engaging with students of his country and preparing them to be future leaders, unlike the earlier ones who sold their countries and became Western puppets. The face-to-face interaction between President Ibrahim Traore of the transition and the children provided an opportunity to explore their concerns regarding peace, security, education, and food security. A spokesperson for the children of Burkina appealed directly to President Traore, urging him to ensure that internally displaced children have suitable housing and enjoy all their rights. She emphasized that the streets are not an appropriate place for children and advocated for girls to attend school rather than becoming involved in potentially violent domestic work. Ongoing terrorism in Burkina Faso has resulted in the departure of several students from schools. President Ibrahim Traore acknowledged the validity and legitimacy of the children's concerns. He reiterated that the crux of his fight and his government's mission is to strive for the fulfillment of all children's rights, including the rights to life and education. President Traore outlined the government's initiatives to reopen several schools forcibly closed due to terrorism. The goal is to establish modern schools that meet the educational requirement and instill values such as patriotism and integrity, countering what he referred to as colonial formatting. Regarding efforts to regain territorial integrity, President Traore assured progress with appropriate deployments throughout the national territory and ongoing operations. Beyond ensuring improved living conditions, President Traore reminded the children of their responsibilities to the nation, parents, and elders. He underscored the significance of respecting elders and having love for the homeland. Despite the challenging security situation, President Traore expressed his commitment to working towards enabling Burkina Faso's children to grow up in peace, access quality education, and enjoy wholesome meals. He emphasized that promoting civic and moral values is crucial for lasting peace and strengthened social cohesion. Responding to the children's plea for safety, President Traore anticipated a patriotic generation from them and urged them to contribute to lasting social transformation in Burkina actively. He encouraged the cultivation of good citizenship, listening to elders, and acquiring positive values. Ibrahim Traore wants to change the French-influenced education system in Burkina Faso so future leaders are inherently loyal to the country. Therefore, he becomes a threat to the West because he stands against their imperialism. He has committed to combating imperialism and neo-colonialism, taking inspiration from the nation's historical revolutionary figure, Thomas Sankara, and quoting Che Guevara, he is doing his job and expects the nation to join him. Until now, Ibrahim Traore has changed the face of the country both nationally and internationally. Burkina Faso has established robust diplomatic ties with revolutionary governments in Nicaragua, Venezuela, Cuba, and Iran. Additionally, the country has cultivated relations with Russia, a notable adversary of NATO. In September 2022, discontent led to another coup in Burkina Faso, bringing into power another nationalist military leader named Ibrahim Traore. At just 34 years old, he became one of the world's youngest leaders. Traore pledged to undertake a refoundation of the nation and comprehensive modernization to address issues such as violent extremism and corruption and complete overhauling the government system. In his speeches, Traore often concludes with the chant, "Homeland or death, we will prevail." As president, Traore has embraced some of the revolutionary ideas of Thomas Sankara, a Marxist Burkinabe military officer and committed Pan-Africanist, who led a socialist revolution in Burkina Faso in 1983. Sankara implemented transformative policies in land reform, infrastructure development, and public health and literacy programs. Under Sankara's leadership, Burkina Faso challenged French neocolonialism and pursued an anti-imperialist foreign policy. However, in 1987, Sankara was overthrown and assassinated in a coup led by his former ally Blaise Compaoré, who shifted towards a right-wing stance and aligned with the United States and France, ruling through rigged elections until 2014. Today, Ibrahim Traore heavily draws on the legacy of Sankara, expressing a desire for West Africa and the continent as a whole to be free of Western neo-colonialism. In July, he attended the Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg, delivering a passionate anti-imperialist speech highlighting the need for independence and non-interference in internal affairs. In his speech, he delved into the themes of sovereignty and the fight against imperialism. He questioned why resource-rich Africa remains the poorest region globally, expressing frustration at the lack of answers. He highlighted the enduring impact of colonialism and imperialism on African countries, characterizing it as a modern form of slavery, a vicious and brutal legacy that the continent has endured for decades. Asserting that a slave who does not fight for freedom is not worthy of indulgence, President Traore emphasized the importance of African leaders resisting puppetry in the hands of imperialists. He called for self-sufficiency, particularly in food supplies, to meet the needs of the people. Quoting the words of Cuban revolutionary leader Ernesto Che Guevara, Traore concluded with the chant, "Homeland or death." The new nationalist government in Burkina Faso has also sought to strengthen its ties with revolutionary movements in Latin America. Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim Kielem de Tambela visited Venezuela in May to meet President Nicolás Maduro. Tambela also traveled to Nicaragua in July to celebrate the 44th anniversary of the Sandinista Revolution, attending the July 19th celebration in Managua. After the September 2022 coup in Burkina Faso, President Traore surprised observers by appointing a longtime follower of Thomas Sankara, Apollinaire Joachim Kielem de Tambela, as his prime minister. Tambela, who was an ally of Sankara during the Burkinabe Revolution, played a crucial role in organizing solidarity for the new leftist government in the 1980s, expressing Pan-Africanist views and affiliations with communist and left-wing organizations. Tambela is tasked with overseeing the refoundation of the nation. Traore's choice of Tambela as prime minister demonstrates a commitment to reviving Sankara's revolutionary legacy. Ibrahim Traore has changed Burkina Faso forever because, after him, the world will see an army of leaders who will be loyal like Traore himself. Captain Ibrahim Traore passionately stressed the maturity and independence of the African continent, asserting that Africa no longer welcomes external interference in its affairs and vehemently opposes the imposition of ideas conflicting with its cultures. As a multipolar world takes shape, Captain Ibrahim Traore asserted that Africa rightfully deserves a significant role in it. In the aftermath of the Second Russia-Africa Summit, the Burkinabe leader called for Africa to receive the acknowledgement it merits, advocating for an increased role in the United Nations and demanding respect on the global stage. He firmly opposed multipolarity and sovereignty, explicitly stating that interference in African affairs is no longer tolerable. Do you agree with Ibrahim Traore's plan to first encourage students to become future leaders and then transfer the power to them? Isn't it true that Traore is trying to develop and unite the nation in a way that nobody has done before? Let us know your thoughts on how Traore should rebuild Burkina Faso using his power. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.